Nothing to see here, folks. Move right along. Not one in 100 people realizes just how completely horrific mind control is. These devices, these scripts they've developed. These scripts, these paths that have been paved for people to walk down. These quote unquote golden paths. These yellow brick roads. You know, I dredged out of my mind recently, the sea of my mind, I'm this scrap of information is very rusty and barely legible, oh, before I get to that, before that big reveal is made, let me just say, let me just say, it was my neighbor. It was my neighbor. My primary, my first initial primary handler, it seemed, was this man, Tim Jennings. And he was definitely a big part of it. He was a big part of it. Whenever I would go over to my, my best friend's house, he was my best friend because of their proximity. They were just next door, There was a path between the fence line, Those houses had been up, they'd been constructed, I don't know, a decade or two earlier, I don't know. And there'd been other families there, At any rate, that whole situation was set up. I believe my father was programmed to go there to buy a house in that neighborhood. These people fixate. There was earlier things going on. He had gotten entangled, in some business down in Mexico with the CIA and awful things are done to people, and they're channelized. They're in this steep canyon. They don't have climbing equipment. They got to walk that line to wherever it opens up to. Anyway, let me try to get to the point here. Yeah, he was involved. I mean, in this more recent deal, this more recent voice to skull stuff. I mean, they've been threatening me, and because I told the story that basically implicates them without naming names, and also the family across the street from them, they were involved. And there was a family just to the north, down South 70th, that was also involved. Yeah, in this more recent, little these little threats, and so I mean they at least convinced me that I had implants. I do. I mean, I do get an RF signal coming from my brain and other parts of my body, and you know, they figured out all these different little implants, and over the years, this is clandestine technology. It's really awful, terrible stuff. Half of it is it's for pain compliance conditioning. Other things, I mean, it's to degrade your body should you stray from their golden path which they've set out for you. And it's just to serve them, and that's all it is. You're the slave. That's how it works. And they were doing what they, I remember his brother, which is this crazy ex-army guy, and maybe that's where the connection came from. The CIA connection came from. I don't know. Maybe he was in military intelligence. Maybe they recruit all kinds of people. I don't know. I don't know what the deal was. I mean, I know that the Jennings, they were well-to-do, and they just kept getting richer. So here I am, implicating this powerful family. I mean, I should have protection. I should be in the witness protection program or something. This is ridiculous. The things that I've experienced. I've yet to get an MRI, so that these implants will actually show up. Other people have that. Other people have. I don't know what happened subsequently from a legal, in the legal realm. I don't know. They were doing something. I remember his brother, the brother of Tim Jennings. He threatened me one time. He was like, I was playing with an Etch-a-Sketch. This was in the 1980s. I was in their house. I was just, oh, what's this? It's an Etch-a-Sketch. Say, we're gonna do that. You know how that works? You know how that works? I don't know. It was like some magnetic particle thing, and through sand, and I don't know, precisely how it works, but I could guess. It goes through a screen. I don't know. But they did this little magnetic particle gritty, paramagnetic, little nanoparticle thing. That was some kind of technology. And then it was in this sleeve, and they tear it open with some kind of I don't know how to reverse engineer it. I don't know, but they tear that open, and then these particles they're embedded. I mean, this is complex. I mean, complex surgery. I don't know. Like the techniques they use are so incredible. I mean, this was stuff that was developed by combat medics in Vietnam or even earlier. While they were on LSD. Like LSD and cocaine. But they were doing this like wire. It was like one of those really abrasive wires, like the kind that they had in the. I don't know what it is. What is it? Spectra line. I don't know what material it is. I don't know what it is. But they were doing this abrasive thing. They were cutting into my ankle again. They were doing that into the joints of the bones. It was like somebody. I was sleeping in the back of my mother's car, and it was like somebody was underneath the. I mean, it's a lot of metal though, and I don't know. Is it RF? Is it just a frequency-based delusion? You guys, most of you have no experience with this. You don't understand, and you chalk it up to, oh, this guy's crazy. I didn't understand. I haven't understood 9/10 of what came out of his mouth so far in this video. I mean, this guy's suicidal. He makes a video like this. You don't know, friend. You don't know what this is like. You have no idea. anyway, he said, "Oh, I was afraid, I wouldn't have enough fuel for the fire. You know how it is. You know how it is." You know where I'm coming from, and he called me this name, this Woden, which is like some kind of characters, like a thunder god of Norse mythology. I mean, these people are into all this occult stuff, these old religions, and I mean, I don't know. Is that just some other faction fucking with me, and like they found out, about that when they put me on a hypnotic and some psychedelic, and you know, maybe euphoric at times. I don't know, you know, and they found out about that, all these repressed memories, these things I disassociated from. I've been programmed to disassociate from. And a lot of it is so horrifying that you don't want to think about it. It runs counter to your survival, even knowing about this stuff. It'll drive you insane. You know, you try to operate in the world, advance yourself as in a practical way, as normal people, and relate to other people. Um, it gets in the way. So he anyway, I was programmed. I don't know. I see these patterns, and that's reflective in my art. I have art at this site on Redbubble. I mean, people try to buy it and they can't. All my it's all hacked. And they told me they'd do this to me if I'd ever tried to make any money online. They wouldn't let me do that. Also, I'm not allowed to see what anybody might be saying about me online. I'm not allowed to see any of that. They told me that. They said, "Oh, you have too much of an advantage because you're prescient. People like you shouldn't exist. People like you shouldn't reproduce. You know how much damage you do. You cause too much advancement, and too much change up and advancement. And we just want to keep things all stable and the same way, and keep having wars and all this shit. Because otherwise, people become stupid, worthless, soft, and their priorities just get all screwed up, and we got to maintain this real classic sense of humanity. I don't know, but anyway, so they used me to map out the future. Whatever. I'm veering off course. The whole thing, anyway. They had me see these patterns of this. Well, they're just patterns. They're just the expressions of the demonic realm. I see faces and all kinds of things, and I'm seeing what you're seeing. I'm just perceiving it slightly different. I don't go around all the time having visual hallucinations. It's not that severe. It's not. I'm not having visual hallucinations. It's just a perceptual thing. It's like connecting the dots. And they said they don't like my art because it expands consciousness. And I've changed the art scene a bit. It's rippled out, and these effects. People can't unsee the things that I create. If you'd like to, you could talk to me. I'll get you an original print. I'll sign it. That's going to be worth money. Someday. I mean, they are trying to kill me. I mean, they are. I might be like I'm 40 years old, but I made like my bones. Due to all the poison degradation, the stripping away of minerals. The pH balancing act that happens when you poison somebody. Even somebody who's so well constructed as me, because all the influence of psychedelic drugs, growing up. Um, you know, Even somebody like me, he was basically like Rasputin. He could, withstand, like, a dose of, I don't know, arsenic that would kill 20 men, or, you know, I'm like that. I mean, they did something similar with him. He's the product of this kind of mind control, occult, Satanist, satanic ritual abuse stuff. You know, and that's what a lot of these criminals, these intelligence agencies, same thing. They're all just composed of a bunch of rotten criminals. A bunch of devil worshipping criminals. This is what. Yeah. I mean, these people are involved in drug production, drug smuggling. I mean, that's been documented. That's all. I don't know who you guys think you're dealing with. They put out this propaganda. They have these Hollywood types. You're connected with them, putting out these propaganda movies, these shows. That cast them in a good light, and they're not good people, not at all. They're horrible, 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 wicked, vicious predators. They're vicious, vicious, rotten, demonic, disgusting, horrible people. They're a small subset of the population, really, on the whole, and they manipulate they manipulate everybody. They want you to believe I'm dangerous. They want you to believe I'm a terrorist. They manufactured me to be some kind of, super villain. I'm not really that. I'm just an artist. I don't want to hurt anybody. All kinds of people. They've had all kinds of people hurt me, though, in all kinds of ways. And this latest situation, it's really sick. I mean, I recovered some memories. I'm going to get to that. And I want you to stay tuned for that video. I don't want to, you should be able to watch this video. I don't want to make this thing too long. You should be able to watch this video while you're drinking your coffee in the morning, and eating breakfast. It's more of something to listen to, really. They wiped my computer. I can't, that happened recently because of all the momentous things. They always do this. They always keep me reeling. I try to, I'm trying to finish book. I'm trying to finish books. I'm trying to finish a number of books. As it happened, I had a USB that, I do have some stuff saved on the cloud, but and in the event of my death, people can. I've arranged to have people go and retrieve that and then publish it in some form. Well, publish it. Talk to a publisher. Talk to a publishing house. Stay tuned for the next video. It's gonna, I'm gonna reveal. I don't want to do this. They put me in this horrible situation. It's so completely horrible.